jazz pianist, composer, what, 60s, 70s, 80s, you can still get him on the internet, still buy him in the store. Yeah, he was Cape Verdean. You know, the Cape Verde Islands were the first stop on the slave trade, and so all the Cape Verdeans in the beginning were all slaves. And what is little known, well, should be well known, is that they actually did plant cotton there. And they planted and picked cotton and sugarcane, and there were mango trees and other things going on. Ondina Estuarte, when she was a junior in high school, wrote this poem called Jazz. What is the color of jazz? Is it cocoa-colored like me, or golden rich like the morning rain? What is jazz? Jazz is a story told by the griot carried upon the winds of Nigeria to the tides of Chicago's slums. Jazz is the African jungle weeping for its lost descendants. Jazz is the mango trees grown by the tears of the black women. Jazz is rough like the shells of the sugarcane taken from the Cape Verde Islands to the Caribbean Sea. Jazz is my pain dressed up in a fine white silky dress, dancing around the juke joint, making the local boys lick their lips. Jazz feels like soft cotton, the kind we were forced to pick. Jazz is the soft woolen quilt Grandma knit to warm the feeling of discontentment, to hide the shadow of oppression, to hide the smell of evil. Jazz is how the swan feels when its lifelong lover is no more. Jazz is the reincarnation of lost love. Jazz is when I first learned that I was black. Jazz is a bowl of chocolate souffle with strawberries dripping with thick caramel. Jazz is the sweet taste of marmalade. Jazz is a mirror in society reflecting the blues of the world. Jazz is what I see when the lights are out and no one is near me to hear me cry. Jazz is the thick ropes of Jamaican breeds, the nappy hair, kinky hair. Jazz is a partner, dangerous. A panther, dangerous, because it is misunderstood. What is jazz, man? Jazz is soul, baby. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jazz is the black woman, black child, the black man. And when they ask me how come, as a black woman, I have constant attitude, I raise my head high and I say, have you heard of jazz? Let me sing you a song.
Yes, jazz. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I heard about Eddie James making transition this morning. I went to a school this afternoon and I'm doing my thanks, and I said I would dedicate my program to Eddie James. There's a bunch of kindergartens and stuff. I said, whose style, that no category, blah, 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 going, I said, at the tender age of 73, this little kid goes, 73? I looked over at my glasses and I said, yeah, 73. Eddie James, man, at last. That's deep. Y'all see Barack last night? Bill Harley, are you kidding me? Crazy man in the house. I know you signed up for the Lions. No professionals, Bill. No lawyers and no Bill Harleys alive. Y'all see Bill? Y'all see President Obama singing last night? Oh man, was he smooth or what? I was like, I feel how he got Michelle now. He broke it down. He sounded like already. I can't wait for Republicans to jump on that. They're going to use it sometime against you, man. They use everything you do against you. Everything, man. You know, I spoke at the inauguration with, I was part of the inauguration. I actually performed in Met Rock. We got to be really tight, you know. And last summer, he and I and the Pope were like cruising down the you know, and we were cruising down the Potomac, you know, just 3 guys, 3 beers, you know, having a good time. And the Pope's hat, that big tall thing, you know, caught some wind and it flew off, you know. And Barack got off and, you know, just walked across the water and picked it up and came back. And the next day on Fox News, you know, they said, you know what they said about Barack? Barack Obama can't swim. I mean, he can't swim. So anyway, that was beautiful. Oh my God. Spitting images. Y'all want to do this now? Y'all want to be part of the lives contest? Where are you? Y'all want to be part of the lives contest, or you want to do your thing now? Let's do it right now. Let's have a big hand for spitting images.
As we were talking about lies, one of the biggest lies I ever heard when I was 5 years old in church, and the preacher would say it over and over and over. I ain't gonna be here that long. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Goose.
So, all the poems we're going to do tonight, the stories you're going to hear, you got to decide if they're true or not. You know, so starting off, you know, I always wanted to be a poet. This was like my dream, right? So I wrote this poem about how bad I am. Tell me what you think. I am the one, changing people's perspectives, negative to righteous, follow the leaders, greatness, preachers and faces, relentless Jehovah Witness hungry. I am the one, saving souls, changing lives, shifting styles, stick shift real quick. Rap, poetry, and acting to get that money. It's 2012. The time is now. Or sit with panhandlers asking for change. I am the one, far from fame, close to failure, jumping on tops of roofs, bouncing, screaming at tops of lungs. Sometimes people hate to listen. Backflip off the stage if I have to when I'm spitting. I am the one, inherited strong backbones. I will break weak rappers' bones. I'm hungry, craving that cobblestone. No more ramen noodles when I'm home. Brokenness I don't condone. Throw meat onto these bones. Before my name engraves a gravestone. 1 minute is all I need to put the people in the zone. Dude, I'm dangerous with microphones tight, even when I'm monotone. Low tone, talking poems out like I'm on the telephone without xylophones or saxophones. All I need is words to work the stepping stones, kicking caps off thrones. I know there are many great poets, but I am the one. So, after being so arrogant and thinking I'm the greatest thing, I came across this. In a world that you're called to bring your A game every time you hit the stage, sometimes your own ego will get in the way. And arrogance can get the best of you. And pride can give you a false sense of security. But to be humble, this is where you will find the truth.
So I stand here, no longer marching to the cadence of death's drum beats, no longer walking into the days of the unknown, no longer glorifying the darkness, so immune to the stench of my own transgressions, which leads me to believe that the mask I wear can't come off. No longer glorifying the darkness, being trapped in the world of revenue and not even spending it. Glorifying what I have in my own pockets, yet I go hungry. Nothing else matters. This must be for salvation. So I have no more time to play the blame game, distributing guilt and shame. Too many of us guilty, I have no more time to play the blame game. Too many of us give out good works for perks, bypassing Calvary just to soak our feet in the River Jordan. And I check myself. What holds me accountable? Examining the fruits that I bear, tilling fertile ground, weeding out thorns and thistles, daily denying self to glorify God. Nothing else matters. This must be for salvation. And to these false prophets disguising sound doctrine with the art of manipulation, fleecing a flock bone dry. There comes a time when there'll be some preaching. There comes a time when there'll be some teaching. There comes a time when the people need some feeding.
Hallelujah!
There comes a time when the people need some healing.
Well.
And your calluses is coming by your complacency. Never seeing the foreclosure of souls. Nothing else matters. This must be for salvation. You see, God looks at the problems and sees potential. Looks at potential and sees purpose. Looks at purpose and sees a plan. Looks at the plan and sees the person. Understands the person that gives out the praise. Hears the praise and makes a point that if you turn wretchedness inside out, hope blossoms. Nothing else matters. This must be for salvation. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Celebrate yourself. Assume positive results. Every atom that we have belongs to you. This is an invitation to our souls. Smell and taste green summer. Crowd shells for perfumes that help you fall in love with the fragrance of yourself. Remember the atmosphere's aftertaste. It is not blind, bland, or odorless. I am in love with my lips, teeth, tongue, mouth, and the sound that it manipulates. My heartbeat is my inspiration to give light kisses and never-ending embrace. I'm delighted that my seeds seek similar fields and hillsides. Remember this, bad health is not death. So sing to the sun, let your dreams run 1,000 acres. Be proud of your accomplishments. Dissect poems, not animals. Erase can from speech. There are millions of suns left for our soul's revival. All we are is complex plants covered by hardened clay. You see my beard? That's my roots and connection to the universe. Our branches grow without limits. If you believe, you can too. Go ask an ant how to overcome. Children play peacefully in grass. Blind adults like me cut grass, burn leaves, kill weeds, and then replace it all with plastic scenes. Even poets can't decipher these graffiti and hieroglyphics, but we love writing riddles. So let's just keep this one simple. Do good, give respect, and you will receive our respect. And tonight, I want you to go home and call your mother and tell her I love you. Right now, when you leave here, erase could have, should have, and just be happy and live.
my eyes, well, it's amazing. Now I can see His favor towards me, favor towards me. I'm grateful, so thankful. I praise your name forever. Your grace, it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me.
I don't know if God hears my prayers. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong. I don't know if these prayers and this poetry is heard. I don't know if it's going to touch anyone. I don't know how to get my son back. South Carolina is very far. I question God all the time, and I try to figure out my purpose. God, I asked you, I told you I was ready to be married. God, I'm talking to God right now. God, I told you I just wanted one good woman, and you sent me 5. God, you must have a really good sense of humor. And now I'm really confused and lost. God, I still need your help. If you don't hear any of these prayers, then answer this one. I need you to remove this pain from my body. God, I need you to give me my health. God, I need you to remove this burning from my hand so that I can write again. That's why I have to read. God, I want you to cleanse this black heart so that I can love her. God, give me the energy to worship you. I mean, like, give me a break. Do you really hear me? Are you there? God, I need you to increase my faith because I'm at a spiritual low and I don't know if I can continue. But God, before I end this, before you drop this healing on my head, I want to let you know that I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the talents you've given me. If I can't do anything else right, this is always right.
Amen.
The stage is always right. I want to count my blessings. I want to bless you and thank you for allowing me to play football when I knew I was too small. You protected me on that field. I never got hurt. We went to the Super Bowl and I never played in my life. Thank you for keeping me safe. And I praise you every time I hit somebody. God be with me. What? And I want you to know that I'm happy that you've given me all that you blessed me with for allowing these people to be here. Thank you, God. Please say my prayer.
Hold on, a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, a little while longer. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right if we trust Him. A little while longer, trust God. Just a little while longer, trust Him, trust Him. keep trusting in God a little while longer. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. If we praise Him, praise Him, praise Him a little while longer. Praise God. Just a little while longer. Praise Him, praise Him. Keep praising God a little while longer. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright if we hold on a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on a little while longer. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be Come on, show your love, show your love. Good energies, good energies.
Yes.
And while the church sings this little light of mine, we're going to pass the plate. Put some money in it. I'm going to let it shine. Oh, this little light. Y'all ain't passing the plate. You're going to talk about getting married. Be careful what you ask for, brother. Once upon a time, a man asked a woman to marry him. She said no, and they both lived happily ever after. No, marriage is tough. Marriage is tough. I went to the restroom and somebody wrote on the bathroom wall, "My wife follows me everywhere." Right underneath it, somebody wrote, "I do not." Marriage is tough. It's going to be hard to start a lies contest after all that good church we just had. But we're going to try to do it anyway. Are y'all ready? I said, are y'all ready? We're going to start the first annual national Fundafest Ribs, Fibs, Lions contest. How many people we got signed up? 8? Lord have mercy, we got a contest. All right, listen, these are the rules. Before I give you the rules, I'm going to tell you who the judges are. So that way, if your person don't win, don't blame me. Go kill the judges. All right. I got Donna Osborne. She lives in Providence, teaches kindergarten in Providence school system for 26 years, and she is a Ribs board member. Donna, stand up. Show us, Donna. There you go. Vivian Malcolm, she's retired and lives in Pawtucket. Vivian, please stand up. Bobby husband from Providence, semi-retired. Bobby, where did you go over there? Get over there with us, Bobby. Catalina Martinez, oceanographer, Wakefield, Rhode Island, storyteller, groupie, and Ribs board member. Where you at, baby? Where you at? Yeah, that's my future wife. Okay. Judy Cabral. I put the dibs on. I saw her first. Judy Cabral from Princeton, former teacher and arts administrator, currently real estate agent, and she's the best thing that ever happened to Lynn Cabral. Give her the best hand. Yeah, give me the mic and see what happens. She said when she met Lenny, he was way down here, and she lifted him up. That's what she told me, Lenny. All right, these are the rules. These are the rules. We're basing everything tonight on originality. Whether it's new or to you or if you heard it before. Delivery. Want to make sure that you deliver it well and have a good stage presence. Audience response. So audience, y'all get into it. I mean, the judges are going to base a lot on what you guys are doing out there also. And is it clean? Is it clean? I mean, it's up to you. We have pushed the clean bar way over here. The time limit. We're going to give each contestant 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And Fantasia is the timekeeper.
When there is 1 minute left, you're going to see this.
1 minute.
I'm going to be sitting right there. And when your time is up, you're going to see this.
Time is up.
That means you better hurry up and finish. How many points will they lose for each second they're over 5 minutes?
They're going to lose 20 points for each second. No, I'm just kidding. No, listen, when he holds up the 1 minute sign, just start wrapping it up. Just start wrapping it up, okay? But you will lose points based on the judges. I'm not a judge. I have nothing to do with it. That is totally the judge's decision of how many points they lose. I'm not involved in politics. I don't know politics I'm doing that. Are you in this bill, Harley? Have you signed up? No, he will. Anyway, all right, coming. I don't even have a contestant. Somebody bring me the list, please. Somebody bring me the list of contestants. Bring me the list of contestants, please. Thank you very much. More coming. All right. We ready for them? We are ready for them. Ready to march. Here we come. I'm going to do them in the order they were handed to me. This name sounds familiar. The first person I'm bringing to the stage, the first contestant in the first annual National Funda Ribs, Fibs, Storytelling, Lying Your Ass Off contest. I said ass off tonight. I don't know what that was. So ass is in the Bible, so we don't know that. I mean, Garnet. All right, church. Mother Ruth, I'm sorry. Got you was here. The Old Testament. Thank you, Sister Ruth. I was going to say the Old Testament got some stuff. See how we love each other? This person has never bungee jumped or gone long or gone hang gliding, has told stories on a box in London's Hyde Park, and would never ever lie. She is 44. I don't know why we asking age, because you know they don't lie about that. She's 44 years young. Let's have a big warm welcome for the first contestant, Laura Packer. Laura Packer.
So I don't know about liars contests, because I don't lie. It's true. We drove down here from Boston. Me, Kevin, and Ruth Hill. And it was a long and tedious drive. We left Boston at 5:30, and we got here at 8 o'clock. And we would not have gotten here at all had it not been for the miraculous creature known as Ruth Hill. Traffic was crawling out of Boston. We expected this. There were so many cars in front of us. And she was calm. She was polite. We chatted about books and movies and music. And then as we began to snake out of Boston, I began to suspect she might be a little bit impatient because her hair was not white when we left Boston. It was the smoke that began to curl out of her ears that I believe bleached all the color out of it. Somewhere down around Attleboro, traffic was at a dead stop, and in front of us there were only red taillights, and in fact people were turning their cars off and just sitting there and waiting. And Ruth finally looked at Kevin, And then she looked at me and she said, if you're not going to do something about this, then I certainly will. She opened the car door and hopped out as spry as could be and looked at everyone around there and said, don't you people know anything about signing up and taking your turn? People turned to look. Who is this dignified woman yelling at them? Some kids got out of cars and she said, no, you have not signed up. You get back in your car. You talk to your parents before you come out and play in the street. It isn't safe to be out here. But first, I need to see what's going on. And so Ruth began to walk down through all of the traffic. And as she walked along, people began turning their cars back on because clearly this was a woman of purpose. As she began to walk down the highway, all the cars, the red cars, the brown cars, the black cars, the green cars, they all began to turn blue. You may think this isn't true, but you're going to read about it in the Globe tomorrow. And when she finally got down to the end of all this stalled traffic, she realized why traffic wasn't moving. Some stupid farmer had tried to bring crops. I don't know what he was pulling, maybe some late winter squash, to market, and his whole cart had overturned on the overpass. The cart had fallen off, and with it had fallen down his donkey. She looked at the donkey just standing there, and the farmer standing above looking at it, and the poor donkey was starting to eat all the winter squash, and she looked up at him and said, will you please move your ass? Well, the farmer knew that he best obey a woman of such power. So he ran down, he led the donkey and the cart off, and one by one cars started going, and Ruth just stood there and waited until we drove up to her as if we were a taxi service. She hopped in, she patted her hair, and said, I believe we'll get there just on time.
Yeah, and I believe that. I do believe that, yes. If you had said anybody else other than Mother Ruth, I would have believed you, but I believe that. She can make things happen like that. And by the way, Laura, thank you for representing the white folks tonight. We have to solicit white folks to join. Now, you white folks who joined after we solicited, just because Laura came up with that means you have to get out of this contest now. You can still stay in it. She's met our 501c3 8927-846. Our nonprofit status will stay intact because we are officially a thank you, affirmative action line contest. And if you are a lawyer and win, we will Google your name and find out that you practice law. You will be disqualified. There are no questions. Okay, next coming to the stage. Second grade teacher born in South Africa, lived in England for 20 years. I know he's got some lies to tell. Rob, is this Rob Pitty? Pitty? Okay. Pitty? Is that you? Yeah. Oh, we can't have two white folks in a row. Hold on. Y'all ain't running this show. Hold on. I'm running this show. You sit your behind down. Hold on 1 minute. Y'all done put your names on the top of the page. Hold on. Yeah, I heard it. Don't put him on Bill. You put him up to this, didn't you? I had this thing all integrated and here y'all put us back 50 years. Segregating this thing. Oh, Lord have mercy. Because you know it's going to be some black folks showing up in about 15 minutes. Y'all started yet? Trying to sign up. Had to take Boom in them. Mama, them car broke down. Alright. You alright? Next coming to the stage. You better not be black. She's a mother, a wife, recent grad from URI. Worked at elementary school part-time in East Providence, loves her family, and has a passion to teach kids to live, love, and learn. Let's have a big hand for Karen Kahir. Karen Kahir.
just messing with you.
All right.
Oh, that's good.
Hi everyone, my name is Karen Park. Okay, I am biracial. Half of me should be here, right?
Good segue.
First time here, I blame Valerie for getting me okay to do this. Okay. As stated, I am a mom, okay, and a wife, recent grad. I have 2 twin-year-old daughters, 5 years old, a son who's 24, and another daughter who is 7, okay? And I'll tell you about the birth of my twin daughters, okay? It's pretty short, but painful, okay? Actually, I was at Home Depot, okay? At Home Depot, I was 7 months pregnant, and I was shopping, doing my usual shopping for some things with my husband there. And as I was going through the aisle, okay, I started to feel some contractions, okay? And as I was going through the aisle, telling my husband I'm feeling some contractions, I think it's time. He said, no, honey, because we've been through this before. He said, not right now. I said, no, I think right now. I said, no. I said, honey, trust me, no, right now. So we run for the door. He gets the car. I'm standing there, and gets the car. I get in, and he drives me to Women Infants Hospital. I get there, and we do the quick question answers to the front. Do the paperwork, because the first thing they always want to know if you have insurance, okay? And after we answer all those good questions and we're allowed to go through, we get our room, we wait. And finally my husband leaves, goes to the bathroom, and while he's doing this, going to the bathroom, they're preparing me to get undressed and get ready for delivery. Well, the doctor comes in, tells me what to expect, what not to expect, and I said, okay, I don't want to do anything till my husband returns. So long and behold, he had made some phone calls on the way to the hospital to my mother, my brother, and my sister-in-law. Karen's going to have a baby, Karen's going to have a baby. We didn't know if we were going to have a boy or girl, what the twins were. So anyway, my relatives are there in the waiting room, and the doctor and someone goes out to get my husband. So I'm speeding it up. I am ready to deliver. And you know, when you're in a lot of pain, women who know, who have children, you don't know what's around you, just see colors blank, and you just want to scream and scratch and bite anyone, you know, kick and scream. So as I'm about to deliver, I look up and I see not my husband, but my brother. So I'm embarrassed because I am spread open. And clean, no, this is clean. So anyway, I am screaming, but for more than one reason. I am screaming. So long and short of the story is the babies are born, nice and healthy, and my brother exits, my husband comes in, and we have one happy family. That's the end of the story. Thank you.
Karen, you do know this is a liar's contest. That sounded so honest. You were very convincing. And if this was, I'm glad this is not a beauty contest because you're the one that hands down. You find the thing up here already. Is your husband here? If he is, I'm going to duck because I know he got his knife out right now. Call it like I said, though. Yeah, very good job. All right, big hand for Karen. Come on, y'all. Show you love, show you love. Y'all turn around and look. I told you to go see people late. Look at me, just come. Hey, y'all! Messing with you. Hey, look, we have a lives contest. Y'all be sure to sign up. It's not too late. Y'all can sign up. We only have 8 contestants, so I want to make this thing longer because some of y'all are professionals. Got a young man coming up right now. I think he owns this joint. Let's have some love for Len Cabral, y'all. Len Cabral!
Oh, man. I stopped drinking.
So this is a true story. Back in the day, 1975. No, it was even before that. 1968. I had this girlfriend. I was really in love with this girl, and I thought it was serious, you know. And then she said she had to go on a trip, and so I said that's cool, you know. And but she had this cat, and she said, "Will you take care of my cat for me?" And I said, "Okay." But I was living in a third floor apartment, you know. So I got this cat in the third floor apartment. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta get a litter box. Oh man, cat. Okay, so I get a litter box and everything, you know, and the cat, everything's going okay, you know. But then I come home and after a week or so, there's no activity in the litter box. So I start looking in the closet, I look under the bed, you know, and then the sniff pass, I said, cat, you know, something to me, you know. No activity, I'm sitting there. And I'm thinking, this cat's got to be going to the bathroom somewhere. And so, I happened to, you know, like I said, I was at a third floor apartment. One morning I was having my coffee and reading the newspaper, and we had this, I kept this window open. We didn't have the air conditioning. So I kept the window open, and there was the cat would go out on the roof and walk around the roof. One day I'm sitting there, I'm watching the cat. The cat walks over to the edge of the house, and he does his business off the side of the house. I said, hot dog, I get rid of the litter box, right? And things were going okay, did all this business right up the side. But then the landlord started complaining because the paint was peeling outside. And there was a bus stop down there, and people down there in the morning, but they were like that, you know. And so the landlord told me I had to close the window and keep the cat in the house. I said, I'm gonna move. So I moved across the street to another third floor apartment. They had a gutter around the house. So the cat would go out there and he'd do his business in the gutter. And I said, that's cool, you know, he's doing business. And then in the winter time, you know, the cats, you know, when they do their number two, they bury it like that. Well, all the leaves are falling off the tree, right? And all the leaves get caught in the gutter. And this cat would get up there, and he'd just go, and he'd knock all the leaves right out the gutter. So he cleaned up my gutter also. So I had a gutter cleaning cat. I feel pretty good about that, you know? And then one day I'm sitting there, and I'm reading the newspaper, my cat's out there, and I'm looking at my cat, and he's like this, and all of a sudden, I'm watching my cat, and all of a sudden, I see a shadow pass over the roof. And I'm looking, and all of a sudden, boom! A hawk comes by, snatches my cat by its collar, takes my cat away. I go, wait! And the hawk is flying away with my cat. I didn't know what to do. I said, should I watch and see where he goes? Should I run and get my car? So I ran downstairs, I had an old Volvo. It didn't start. I couldn't follow the cat. I lost the cat. I said, oh man, my girlfriend's gonna come back. The cat's gonna be going home, man. I'm sitting there. About 3 days later, the cat came back. I thought it was a goner, but the cat came back. I did. The cat came back. And then, you know, something, about 2 days after that, another hawk came by, took that cat off. In about 3 days in a row, that cat went off with a hawk and came back. And I found out that cat's out of little business. He was going around the neighborhood and cleaning up people's gutters. And he did so well, the next, about 2 weeks later, an eagle picked him up. I know, hawk got an eagle. And you know something, that cat, I really like that cat. And, but, you know, he went off a number of times, and then, I don't know, he never did come back. I'm still waiting for that cat to come back. So, any of you young folks out here see a stray cat up there at somebody's house, cleaning up the gutter, or the leaves going off, that's my cat. You call me, I'll come get him. There's the Lord, y'all. There's the Lord. There's a gutter cleaning cat.
Reminded me of a friend of mine who had a wife had a cat. He was jealous of the wife's cat. He was jealous of everything. He was jealous of the wife's cat. One day he took the cat, put it in the car, took the cat 3 blocks down the street, let the cat out. He pulled up in the driveway, and the cat walking up the driveway right with him. Put the cat back in the car, took the cat 7 blocks down the street. Pulled up in the driveway, threw the cat out the window, pulled up in the driveway, the cat walking right up the driveway with him. So he put the cat back in the car. He took the cat 7 miles down the road. He rode around the circle 4 times. He went over the bridge, went around the corner, went left, went right, drove around the bridge, went back under the bridge, did that little thing, on the bridge like this about 9 times. He went around the corner, went 7 miles this way, and he let the cat out. About 3 hours later, he called home. His wife answered. He said, "Is that cat there?" She said, "As a matter of fact, he is." What? He said, "Could you put him on the phone? I can't find my way." Next flyer coming to. Woo, look at that coat. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Y'all got money up here. Oh, what'd you say, Lenny? That's okay. That poor lady, she don't know what just hit her. Hi. It looks like a mink to me. Next comes to the stage, he never told a story in front of a big group. He tells stories to his daughter, and she likes them. Let's hope we do. A big round of applause for 47-year-old Jim Roach. Jim Roach.
Thank you.
Oh, it raises.
You're not an engineer, are you?
Not at all. All right, that's great. Thanks. Well, thank you, everyone. I don't know how to start, so I'll start by saying I'm a friend of Catalina's, and Catalina tells a story. Yeah, the cat tells a story of this woman who always said you should take one step out of your comfort zone, and that's how you should live your life. So right now, this is like a long jump. All right, I took a trip to Ireland this past summer, and I took my daughter, because that's where my family's all from, Ireland originally. And I wanted to show my daughter the home country and everything. So if I get nervous during the story, I'll go into a brogue. Either that or I'll start saying wicked all the time. So we're in Ireland, we're staying in this farmhouse, and I was down the street from a friend of mine's cousin. And outside of the farmhouse in the pen, there were all these goats. And we go to bed at night, tuck her in, say goodnight, and lie down, and all of a sudden you just start hearing goats. And they go, "Meh, meh." And I'm lying there going, "Oh my God, how am I going to sleep?" And then there's this one goat who he goes, "Moo." It's like halfway through his thing, everybody else catches him, so he's sitting there, "Moo, ah." So in the morning, I'm sitting there eating my cereal, and my daughter comes down, she goes, "Dad, did you hear that goat? He thinks he's a cow." Well, so we listened to that for 2 nights. And the next morning she comes down, "Dad, did you hear that goat again?" "Yeah, I think there's something wrong with him." "Yeah, I don't think he belongs there." "Yeah, what should we do?" "I don't know." So we talked about it and we said, you know what? Let's go get that goat and let's take him down and he can spend the night with the cows. He wants to be a cow. So we thought, great. So we walk over and we open the pen and we sneak in there and we find the one who's going, "Moo, ah." And we bring him over and let him out of the gate, and we think he's going to walk with us down to the cows. Well, he's gone. So we spend a few hours chasing that goat, and we finally get him. We get him into the cows, and we think we're okay. We don't sleep. We still don't sleep that night because the rest of the goats are going, "Mah, mah." So the next morning we walk down to where the cows are, and we see him. And he's standing there at the gate, and he's like this. If he could talk, he's saying, "Get me out of here, they're cows, they're huge, they're not nice to me." So we smartened up. We took a leash with a rope with us this time, and we roped the goat, and we get him out of there. And I'm thinking, well, what do we do now? So we took him down to Jared and Deirdre's house. That's my friend's cousins who are living down the street. And when I go to Jared and Deirdre's house, they're traditional Irish, and I walk in and they'll go, "Jim, it's great to see you. Can you have a seat? Are you thirsty? Can we get you something to eat? Deirdre, you got some more of that stew. Can you bring the stew over? Oh, Haley, you hungry? Okay, sit down with the kids. We'll make you a sandwich. It's coming right up. How about some cheese and crackers?" And that's how they greet you. So I really loved it. So we sit down and I say, "Jared, I got a problem. We took this goat out of the pen because we thought he was a cow." Jared's looking at us kind of funny. And I said, "Well, the thing was, we put him in the pen for the night with the cows. And I'm afraid to sneak him back in there because I think the farmer's going to be pretty mad with us." So Jared says, "Well, he can stay here for the night, and we'll see what we do in the morning." So we leave him there, and in the morning I go back to Jared and Deirdre's house. And I'm waiting for the traditional greeting. Jared says, "Hi, Jim." Well, I get no drink, no oatmeal, no cereal, how about the juice? It's, "Jim, can you get the goats out of the house? He's eating everything." "All right, Jared, sorry about that." So I take the goat back to the pen, and I swear, that night, it was quiet. All the goats were happy to have mooah, because we call them mooah by then. And it was just nice and quiet. And in the middle of the night, I'm just about to fall asleep, and I hear, "Moo, ah!"
All right, show your love, show your love.
Hey, Mitch, can you announce the 50-50 raffle?
We got a 50-50 raffle. How much is it? $2. 50-50 raffle. That means you get 50, half of the money, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Let me put my $2 in. Don't do it until I put my 2 in. 50-50 raffle. All right? Everybody put your $2 in.
Sean's over there. You can put more than 2 in if you want.
Yeah, you put more than 2. The more you put in, the better your chances. Hey, 50-50 raffle.
For $10, you get 6 tickets.
What? $10, you get 6 tickets. What you get for 20?
We're also raffling off a bunch of Storyteller CDs and Ribs merchandise.
Ribs merchandise and Storyteller CDs that they're raffling off. So the tickets will go for that as well. If you don't win the 50-50, future wife, I'm talking to you. If you don't win the 50-50, you'll win the... See, she's ignoring me already. We said I do, me too, we through. So after the 50-50 raffle, those tickets will be used for the Fundafest items, right? And the Storytellers. Okay. So if you don't win the 50-50, you can also win CDs and items up there. All right. Next coming to the stage, a storyteller, a dancer, a healer, a wonderful friend of mine. Let's have a big hand for Mansaco. Mansaco, my man. Mansaco. Big hand.
What story should I tell? Oh, my phone on vibrate. Hello? Yes, this is Masako Banda. Who's calling? Producers from the Grammys? Are you sure they told you to call me?
510-774-6288. Say what? Say what? Wow! Well, you know, I'm at a storytelling festival. I'm about to tell a story, but I'm great. I'm speechless. Okay, okay. So yes, I am Masango. And yes. I did do a spoken word recording, and I played drums on it, and it's up for international new music. Wow! That's amazing! All these guys are looking at me like I'm telling lies. But really, the writing producer, he says I won for international new music. I just thought I would just send it in, you know. I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll win a Grammy. But they're calling me.
Put him on speakerphone.
All right, so what you call 1-800-777-32. Okay, somebody's giving me a piece of paper. Not that one. Okay, quickly. I'm running out of time. 777-6832. And I should speak to Robin. And Robin will give me my tickets for first class. The last time I flew first class was by mistake and they flew me up. And I'm staying away at the Beverly Hills Hotel. The last time I was at Beverly Hills Hotel, somebody gave me suitcases to carry. It's amazing. Is that what you do for all the international stars? And who am I sitting next to? And Donna and Ricky Gervais. You know, you shouldn't really do that to people if you're just joking. Is this like a crank call? Where's the TV camera? Is somebody going to pop out somewhere and say I'm on candid camera? No, really? Okay. Somebody just, maybe I should have somebody call the number. It's 1-800-666-728. Somebody call it. Is it them?
Yeah.
Is it Robin?
Right.
Oh,
Wow. There will be a line forming for autographs immediately after this. $5 for autograph, and it is a fundraiser, so it will go to the Fundafest. My man. Woo! Next coming to the stage, a second grade teacher born in South Africa, lived in England for 20 years. This is the second introduction for him tonight. Let's have a big hand for Rob Pitty.
Hi. Okay, ready. So I guess I couldn't come up before because I'm too white. like you said, I was born in South Africa, and now I live here. I have a daughter and a son and a wife and a house and a job here. So by some way of reckoning it, you could call me African American. So most of the stories so far have been true, and this one is too, actually. But I'm a grown-up now. But what I realized being a grown-up is some things that look different when you're a grown-up compared to when you're a kid. Like I teach kids now, and sometimes, especially with boys, I'm like, what are you thinking? I try to be more professional about it than that, but that's what's going on inside. And the other thing I realized is kids talk to me a lot, And sometimes I'm good about really listening to them, and other times I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that's nice, cool, good, go for it. But I haven't really heard them. So when I was a kid, I'm just going to make this a little taller. When I was a kid, I went to this school that was kind of alternative, and they actually took kids in 3rd grade, yeah, it was 3rd grade, camping for a weekend. And parents would volunteer, and they would go off and camp for the weekend. And so off we went, we camped, and we were having a great time. And one day, we were out walking in the countryside, and this was in England, and England's near Wales, and they speak really strange in Wales, and I can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't do it. But, so we're camping in Wales, and we're out for a walk, and we walk past this river, but it seems to be tidal or something, because there's a really big, long, muddy bank. And the kids are all looking at this, going, that looks fun. And for some reason, the grown-ups say, you can slide down it, but you have to take your clothes off and just go in your underwear, because otherwise you get your clothes all dirty. So that's what we did. When the kids were all having the best time in the world, sliding, and after a while, it wasn't like we were just in our underwear, because we were caked in mud. We were completely, we had mud in our hair, we had mud all over us. And then me and 2 other boys decided we were done, and we were going to walk back to the campsite. And so we went up to one of the parents, and we said, we're going to walk back to the campsite, and this is where the grown-up part comes in. He was like, good, go for it. And I'm guessing he didn't hear us, because we started walking back to the campsite, and after a while, everything was cool. Like, we had such, I guess, that's the missing part, is we're sliding down this mud, and everything's so good, and everything's so free. Like, after a while, you just realize you can do anything. The world has changed in the last 5 minutes, because you can slide down this muddy bank in your underwear, and that's possible, and everything's fine. So we headed off to the campsite. We were going to find our way back, and we're walking, and we're talking, we're having a good time, and suddenly we realized that we didn't have any clothes with us. And we were in our underwear covered in mud, and then we also realized that we were lost. So I got 1 minute. So the best we could do was find a house, and we went up and asked the lady, and she said, I don't know what to do except call the police. So the local Welsh policeman arrived, and he was, I don't think he ever had 3 muddy, naked boys before, but he was really not impressed. He took us in his car, and I remember sitting in his office on the floor, and looking up at him. And I can't really do his face, but he had this way of curling his lip whenever he looked at us, and he would mutter things like, oh, and they stink too. Anyway, eventually parents arrived, and it turned out it was my parents that arrived. And because it was my parents, I cried, and none of my friends did. So I was humiliated, and that's the end of the story.
Big hand for my new brother. Y'all thanks. All right. Muddy and naked. For some reason, that's not the story I had in mind. Anyway, I digress. Valerie Tutson, old enough, 45, adult? Sure, you're not 45. 45. Okay, you 4 plus 5, you're 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 10 is 20. You're 20. Let's have a big hand for my storytelling wife, Valerie Tutson.
I don't know why I feel compelled to tell you all this. People ask me all the time why I bought such a big house.
You know, I have a house with 5 bedrooms. And a lot of times people come up to my house and they say, oh my God, do you live in this house all by yourself? And usually I just say, yeah. You know, because that's kind of true. But I thought tonight I should tell you really about my house. You see, when I lived on a 3rd floor apartment, which actually was owned by Lenkerall, that part really is true, but I started to get these visions, and I started to hear these voices. And it was about 8 years ago, and I was up in that 3rd floor apartment, and I heard these voices tell me that I needed to have a very big house because there were going to be very many men in my life. And I needed to have a room for each one. And so I started driving around the streets of Providence, and I pulled up in front of this house, and there it was. And when I went out and I knocked on the door, this beautiful man opened up the door. And I was like, hi. I said, do you live here? He said, well, I do. Would you like to come in? I said, I sure would. And he showed me around this house, and I have to tell you, I fell in love. Not just with the house, but with him. That was man number 1. Up on the 3rd floor, that was the 1st bedroom. Well, you know, once he was gone, then came man number 2. That was the 2nd bedroom up there on the 3rd floor. And then I moved down to the 2nd floor, and there was man number 3 over in that bedroom. And then there was man number 4 over in that bedroom. And there's only 1 bedroom left. So this is when the situation got serious. Now, the other thing people ask me all the time is, Val, I haven't seen you around very much. Where have you been? You know, and where have you been? You've been overseas, you've been here, you've been there, you know. And I said, well, you know, I've been traveling, I've been telling stories. But this past, over New Year's, I went away, and I told most people that the reason that I went away was because, you know, it was the anniversary of my father's death, and it was my mother's birthday, and she died 2 years ago, and I really just needed to go and sit in a sacred valley, and I needed to soak up the energy of Peru, which is true. I went on down there, and I sat there in that sacred valley, and I started to hear those voices. And when I was down there, hearing those voices again, I felt this calling, and it took me over to one of these mountains that is just outside the city of Pisac, and the mountain is called Pachatusan, and it was calling me because my last name is Tutson, you know what I mean? I went over to Pachatusan, and I spent the New Year sitting there, communing, listening to these voices. And the voices of the mountains, which they call the Apus down there, said, go into the city, and you will find the man you're looking for. So how could I not do that? I mean, you know. So I went down to the city, and it's not really a city, it's a small town. It's a little tiny village, but sorry, storytelling. Was a flute-playing husband of mine. Ooh, he played so sweet. I decided to bring him home. And in fact, I kept talking to him about this festival. I really wanted him to come. I mean, you know, I was taking a break so I could get ready for Funda, and I said, if you really want to know me and you really want to love me, then you need to know what I do, and I'm a storyteller, and there's this festival, and so won't you come? And so he actually came back with me from Peru. Really, really wonderful, you know, and I brought him around to all these different events, and I brought him in here this evening. And that's when the trouble began. I don't know what you're thinking, but let me tell you what happened. Some of you might know that there was food laying out there on the table over there, and we walked in here, and he started dishing up his food, you know, and he had some chicken, and he had some greens, and he lifted up the rice, and he saw the beans in there, and he said, are there shrimp in there? And I said, oh, no, there's no shrimp at all. You don't need to worry about that. In my Spanish, which isn't so
so good, his English isn't so good either, so I don't know how well we communicated. But he piled up the rice with the beans, and he took a bite, and as soon as he did, he went into shock. You all didn't see it happen over there, but he fell out dead right over there. Before everybody got here, we managed to carry out the body. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but it looks like I lost that husband, so I'm just waiting for the message from the voices.
Valerie Thompson now. Now you tell me. Good thing he died, because I was going to kill his ass. I had to cut my cheek. That's old school talk. I don't know nothing about that. Next coming to the stage. Her age is none of your business. She's from Ohio. My sister, my wonderful storyteller. Let's have a big warm welcome for Lynn Ford.
It was around that time of year when my great-aunt Catherine would get things ready for the holidays. A warm August day, and she was sitting in the rocking chair on the front porch, rocking as she knitted and crocheted gifts for folks, and watched over the turkeys that she would raise at that time of year to make a little more money for the holidays. Well, while she was sitting on the front porch, she saw a parade of cars coming down the road, and that line of cars stopped right in front of the house. The car doors opened, and out came all the kinfolk. Well, Great-Aunt Catherine put down what she'd been doing and walked to the steps of the front porch and looked down at everybody and said, "What y'all doing here? Something happened? Did somebody die? Was it me?" Folks said, "Oh no, Aunt Cat, we knew that you'd be here by yourself this weekend since Uncle Stafford is gone, and we just wanted to come and surprise you and spend some time with you." Well, Great-Aunt Catherine got upset, because she was one of those women that liked to feed folks when they came to her house, and she just didn't have enough for everybody that had gotten out of those cars. Well, some folks said, "Well, don't worry, Aunt Cat. Some of us will take you down to the new supermarket, get whatever you need. And some of us will stay here with the children and mind the turkeys, too." Well, she still wasn't happy because she wanted to feed those folks that were going to stay there. And the only thing she had in abundance, she went down the cellar steps to get by herself. Jars of cherries, soaking in brandy for her holiday baking. Well, she carried those jars of brandy cherries up the steps and put them on the dining room table and went down to the supermarket with some of the kinfolk, and the others opened up those dining room windows, keep an eye on the children and the turkeys, and they opened up those jars of brandy cherries and scooped them out with their fingers, popped them in their mouths. Oh, they were good. And that's when they noticed there wasn't a wastebasket in the dining room, so they just spit the pits out the window. Pulled a few more out of those jars, and ooh, they were good. Spit the pits out the window. And after a while, those folks weren't paying any attention to the children or the turkeys. About that time, they heard a car pull up and a car door slam, and Great-Aunt Catherine's voice said, "Oh no!" Well, they went running out on the front porch, and the children were all right, but there were all those turkeys lying on the ground, dead, with their feet sticking straight up in the air. Great-Aunt Catherine said, "Oh no, what happened? My turkeys are dead, and I can't get them all ready for the butcher. I'm not going to make enough money for the holidays." And folks said, "Don't worry, Aunt Cat. We'll help you get them ready. We'll take those birds down to the butcher. There's a new supermarket, and there's a new restaurant. We'll help you with the turkeys and all those that could started pulling those feathers off all those dead birds. And when the last feather was pulled off the last bird, first turkey rose from the ground. Started waddling around. Said, "Go, go, go." And then another turkey rose up and started waddling and waddling around. Said, "Go, go, go." And all those turkeys started rising up all over that front yard because they weren't dead. They were dead drunk from eating those brandy cherry pits. Well, Great Aunt Catherine said, "Oh no, what am I going to do? I got a bunch of naked birds running around the yard. It's going to get cold this evening. They're going to freeze to death, and I'm not going to make enough money for the holidays." Folks said, "Don't worry, Aunt Cat. We'll help you." And all those that could went and got her knitting needles and crochet hooks. And they proceeded to knit and crochet little hats, little sweaters, little jackets for those birds. And they put those hats and jackets and sweaters on all those naked turkeys. And that's how turkey dressing was made.
Oh, that's funny stuff. I got a joke for that when we run out of time. Next one to the stage. Tell us something about you. This says most right now, or not right now, or something right now. Patty Horton, who's 27 and a half years old. Patty Horton, come on, not right now. Patty Horton, come 27 and a half years old. Come on up to the stage with your line set.
Thank you. You know, when I think about what I'm going to tell you, it still hurts. Because it happened so long ago. But first I want to tell you this. I trimmed my hair the other day. I walked in the office and my boss said to me, "Oh, Miss Patty, you look so good." I said, "Thank you." I walked back in my office. I said, "This is a gray hair. You're going to tell me I look good." Then one of the organizers, good-looking young guy, he said, "You know, Miss Patty, I wish I knew you back in the day." And I looked at this handsome young man, and I said, "Honey, I was 9 on your level." And he said, "Why?" I said, "I would have walked all over you." I said, "But you know what? You told me now." But having said that, I just want to tell you something I experienced when I was a young woman. Young, and I was born and raised in North Carolina, and I was about the most naive person you've ever met in your life. I loved my husband. He was my first boyfriend. I married him. Then after 4.5 years, one morning I woke up and I said, "Why am I with this man? I don't know what love is. I didn't want to be in love anymore. I wanted a divorce." So I worried about it, and I was very stressful, and it was really bothering me so bad that I decided to go see a lawyer. I got up that morning, I caught the bus, I went downtown to see the lawyer, and I sat down in his office, and I happened to look down, and I had on 2 different bedroom shoes. You know, and I'm saying to myself, I know I gotta divorce this man because I don't know what love is, and I just know that this is not love. I'm sitting here in this lawyer's office with 2 different bedroom shoes on. So the lawyer told me, he went through the whole spiel, you know, what you're gonna get and blah, blah, blah. And he said to me, we're gonna have to put an ad in the paper. I said, okay. And I'm so happy because now he's putting this ad in the paper. I came back home and I'm waiting. And I'm so happy. I'm divorced. He put the ad in the paper and I got my divorce. Well, about 2 months later, I called the lawyer because now I want my paper. You know, my little paper with the seal on it. And he said, Miss Horton, you haven't gone to court yet. I said, but you put the ad in the paper on my divorce? Thank you.
You still have on mismatched shoes, by the way. She looked down, she looked down. Gotcha! Woo! You do look good for your age, though, you really do.
Thank you, thank you. You know, actually, I got up this morning, and I walked in the bathroom, and I looked in the mirror, and I said, damn, girl, you look good.
You said it right, you said it right. And I know a man went to the doctor and got a physical. The doctor said, man, I tell you what, you look really good to be in your early 30s. And I said, I appreciate you saying that, but I'm 50 years old. The doctor said, man, you look good to be 50 years old. What do you do? He said, I work out every day, you know, I stay active and I do this and I take my vitamins and blah, blah, blah. The doctor said, wow, that's good. You come from good genes. Well, when did your dad die? He said, who said he was dead? He said, your dad's still living? He said, yeah, my dad's 80-some years old, man. He still goes and plays golf, you know, 3 times a week, and he works out, and he stays active in the community. He said, wow, that's great. You really come from good genes, man. How old was your grandfather when he died? He said, who said he was dead? I said, grandfather's living? Really? He said, yeah, man, he's 112 years old, man. He said, really? How you doing? He said, he's still active, man. I mean, he still goes out, he plays golf once a month, and he goes to Rotary Club and stuff like that. He doesn't drive anymore, but he stays active. In fact, he's getting married in 2 weeks. Doctor said, he's getting married. Why would a 112-year-old man want to get married? He said, who said he wanted to? We still got it down there in the South. We still got it down there in the South. Let's go to the stage.
Oh my God.
Man whose age is none of your business. I know who this is. The instigator. Bill Harley. Bill Harley.
Tell the truth.
This is true before I get going. Because I woke up the other morning and I walked in the bathroom. You guys are going to understand this. This is like 6:30 in the morning. It's just a little bit of sunlight or just a little bit of light. I come in and I'm walking by the mirror and you look at the mirror and it's like, oh shit, man. I look like Dick Cheney. I started thinking this is off the subject. I said, oh man, it's really freaking sad. So I did. And I started doing this. Hey, you do look like Dick Cheney. And I started thinking about Dick Cheney, because nobody thinks about Dick Cheney anymore, which is mostly a good thing. This is not the story. Casey's already got the thing out. And I was like, what's Dick Cheney doing with his life, man? It's like, he doesn't have a freaking purpose anymore. He can't invade countries. He can't, like, drill for oil, you know? He can't do shit. What's he gonna do? And I thought, you know, one day Dick Cheney's gonna walk in the bathroom, take a piss, and walk in the mirror and say, shit! I look like Bill Harley! And then I'll sing for kids. We're gonna make up songs. Like this. Wheels on the bus, they all fell off, all fell off. So I'd like to tell a story now that I got 2.5 minutes left about why I can't tell stories
in New Hampshire. And I forgot about this because I didn't know about it until about 17 seconds ago. So actually Lenny tells stories a lot in New Hampshire. He goes up there a lot. He gets like this grin. It's like, oh my God, it's a third world person coming in and telling stories. So I don't work in New Hampshire. So this is like 8 or 9 years ago. I got a call. It's like working in New Hampshire. It's like in the southern part of New Hampshire. I was kind of excited about it. And it's kind of sick, but I was a little worried about time. And I actually discovered that it would be faster for me to fly to like Manchester, New Hampshire. You know? Because there was a U.S. Air flight. Where's Mitch? You know I'm going with this, don't you? Yeah. There's a U.S. Air flight flies from Providence, New Hampshire, and I figured out the whole thing. So I go down there, I drive down to T.F. Green, Teddy Green Airport, down to Warwick, and I got my guitar, because I'm just going up there, I'm going to sing some songs and tell stories and come back. And I get halfway down the ramp, and there's this flight attendant there. And I don't want to cast aspersions on the guy, but the guy's of a certain melanin content, and he says, you can't come on this plane with that guitar. And I say, I gotta come on the plane. He says, you can't. And Mitch says to me, no, you can't. It's against the rules. Is that right, Mitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did say that to me.
Right.
Okay, so now I'm in Warwick, and I have to get to like Nashville, New Hampshire in 80 minutes. So I get in the car, I'm driving through Massachusetts. I'm speeding. I live in Massachusetts, I should tell you. I live over the line in Seekonk. We don't know whether we belong in Rhode Island or Massachusetts. We're all kind of confused, just like all of you here right now. Where do I fit? I live on the border. What should I? So I'm driving, but I get across the border. I'm kind of getting chased, and I see a state cop behind me. But I drive, and I'm going, and I go through the toll booth, and I get pulled over. And I know you're not going to believe it, but I'm telling you the truth. The guy gets out of the car. He's about 6'4", and he was African American.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We know.
And he gets over, and I know there's a thing called driving while black, but there's also a thing called driving while storyteller. I've been through this before. And he says, what are you doing? I said, I'm late for a show. I got to get to the school show. It's like 25 minutes away. And he says, what are you doing? I said, I'm a storyteller. He says, get out of the car. It's like, I'm already going to be late for the show. So I get out of the car. And he says, he looks in the car, and he says, could you, open up the glove compartment? And he's looking around there, and he's like looking in there. He's got a flashlight, even though it's the middle of it. It's like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. He's like looking at the thing, like I said. It's like bend over, and he goes back to his car, and he pulls out the latex glove, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me, And so he does the whole check, and he says, okay, get in the car. So, but he doesn't want me to drive anymore. He says, I don't think I can trust you. I'll drive you to the school show that you have to do.
Right. So
he leaves my car on the side of the road. I know none of you have ever been through this experience. This has never happened to you. You've never been pulled over for no good reason. I understand. I'm just saying. So he drives me up to the school. Now, by this time, this is like, I don't have a cell phone. I pull in, and the secretary, everybody at the school is pissed at me. Okay, you got to remember, I just remembered this about 3.5 minutes ago, what was happening to me. So we're kind of making it up as we go along. So I get in there, and the secretary is livid. She says, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're waiting for you, I said, I know. But I've been drinking coffee all the way up, up through Lawrence and Haverhill and all that other stuff, and I really had to go. I just really had to go. You guys are looking at me like, you still believe me. That's really good. Yeah, right. Or like, where is he going with this? That's okay. So I said, I have to go to the bathroom. He said, well, the men's room, she said, there is no men's room in this elementary school. We have no men in this elementary school. I said, well, I'm sorry, but I can't do a show before I go to the bathroom. And she said, well, I can't help you. And she leaves. And I'm standing there in the office waiting for somebody to show me where the performance space is. Now you know, Mitch, this is the truth. Right? You're waiting. And I look around and I see a women's room. So I decide I'm just going to go pee in there. So I go in there, I lock the door, I have to pee, and as soon as I go in there, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And the secretary says, "Who's in there? I have to go!" Oh my gosh, she's going to kill me. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I mean, there's a stall because, you know, they don't have these men's rooms. But right above me is a grate. So I think, okay, I'll just like climb up in the air, and you know, maybe she'll think like the door got locked. So I climb up there and I pull the grate up after me. She, now I hear, oh damn, I must have locked the door myself. So I think, okay, that's good. So I'm standing up there in the grate, right? And I'm looking down in the grate, and she comes in, but she doesn't have to go to the bathroom. She's got a cash box. And she brings it in, and she starts stuffing money into wow. Thinking, oh my God, this is embezzlement. This is incredible. So I got my cell phone. I get it out like this, you know. I turn it on. I don't have an iPhone like now, but I got it. And I push it, and when I push the button, the light comes on. It takes a picture. She looks, she says, "What are you doing up there?" And she runs out and she calls the police. Right? And the policeman calls up, shows up. And it's like this, it's the same guy. The black state policeman comes up and he pulls me out. He says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "She's embezzling." And he looks at the phone, and I said, "Look, here's a picture." And there's a picture of her breasts. He says, "Get in the car." And I'm like, what am I going to do? And he was so sweet. And he's driving me down the road, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to blow the whistle on you. You had that latex glove and the Vaseline and everything like that, and I'm going to ask them to do, you know, all this stuff, and they're going to find out." He says, "Okay, buddy, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to take you right back to your car. You're going to just drive out of the state." I said, "Okay." So he takes me back to the car. And he's in the car, but as we're driving down there, okay, now we're really making up. I don't think you should be hearing this, but it's okay. There's a car pulled over to the side of the road, and it's right in front of my car. It's hard to believe, but this is the story. And it's broken down. He says, "I'm going to stay in this car. You stay in my trooper car, and you don't touch your car." And he gets in the car, and he gets out of the car, but the car's in reverse. And I jump over, and I'm sitting in the side next to him. I try to stop it, and it bounces into the next car. And now I know, what am I going to do? So I get out of the car, I run to my car, I get in the car, I just say, "I got to get out of New Hampshire. I have to get out of New Hampshire. Like, white guys don't belong in New Hampshire. I have to get out of here." So I drive it, and I just drive through the toll booth. Because I know if I can get to Massachusetts, but here's the deal, and I forgot to tell you this, okay? On the way into Massachusetts, after, you know, before I got pulled over by the cop, because I was driving so fast, I drove by the liquor store. Oh, no. Yeah, you know the liquor store? Yeah, you know the liquor store. The liquor is cheaper there. And I thought, I'm just going to stop and get a case of wine. So I stopped and get a case of wine. So the wine is in the back of my car. Now, some of you may or may not know this, but Massachusetts and New Hampshire don't get along. And a number of years ago, which happens to coincide with when I was doing this, the Massachusetts State Police of Massachusetts decided that they did not want people to bring wine back in for New Hampshire with no taxes. So I drive through the toll, I say, I'm free in Massachusetts, and there is a Massachusetts State trooper right on the line. I'm going 80 miles an hour. He puts on the lights, pulls me right over. I got 2 or 3 cases of wine right there in the car. He pulls me over, and you're not going to believe this, I know, but he was about 6'5", and he was African American. And he got out of the car, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm a storyteller." He said, "Get out of the car." And just at that moment, because there's this little space between New Hampshire and Massachusetts, and we don't know where it belongs. It might be part of New Hampshire, it might be a part of Massachusetts. Yeah. And as he pulls me out of the car, the New Hampshire trooper pulls up. And he gets out of the car and he said, "He's mine!" The other one said, "He's mine!" It said, "He's mine! He's mine!" And the Massachusetts trooper said, "Get in the car and go home." And the New Hampshire trooper said, "Never come back in this state again." And I never have. And that is the truth.
Bill Harley with a great 5-minute lie. Okay, that was funny stuff. It reminded me of Sammy Davis Jr. Y'all heard the one about him when he got on the bus in the South and the bus driver told him, go to the back of the bus. He said, "I'm Sammy Davis Jr. The bus driver said, "I don't care who you are, go to the back of the bus." He said, "I'm a famous entertainer." He said, "I don't care who you are, go to the back of the bus." He said, "Well, I'm Jewish." He said, "Get off the bus." Next coming to the stage, none of your business, New York bigot, Joanne Sweet Nine. Sweet Nine, Joanne, where are you? Sweet wine, how about this, that one? Speaking of sweet wine, can I have a glass of wine, please? You too? Lady, give me some of that French wine up here. Thank you very much. Joanne Sweet Wine, is you a New York bigot? Oh, excuse me, New York bigot.
My name is Joanne Sweetwine. Yeah, I'm a New York bigot. I'm from New York. Ain't nothing better. I grew up in the projects. My family's from the South Coast. I got them South Carolinian roots with a little bit of island in their money. But I'm gonna tell you the story about when I was little growing up in the projects. Every Sunday we get all dressed up to go to church. I mean, we'd be clean. That was the only day that our mothers and fathers got us just right. And we'd be tipping. But when you go anywhere in New York, you take the subway. So we had to go down in that dirty subway, all clean. But we didn't mind, we was all kids. We got on there, we got to our end of the car, and our parents was at their end of the car. They was down there having their conversation, and we was down there wreaking havoc, tearing stuff up, starting trouble. And every once in a while we hear, "Y'all better stop that down there." Okay. We be quiet for a little bit, and then we go right back to it. Well, this day, this drunk man got on the train. And this is the day my nickname went from Sweets to Sweet Pea. This guy gets on the train and he's staggering, and he's dirty, and he's stinking, and we're laughing at him, and we're making jokes about him, and he just lays down and he goes to sleep. So now we play this game, who can get closest to him and poke him without waking him up. And so we keep doing this, we keep doing this. So the guy before me, he pokes him, and he gets up, and he starts walking towards us. So everybody starts scattering, but me, I'm like a deer in the headlights. I'm like, oh no, and everybody's like, Sweet, you better run. And I'm just standing there like a deer in the headlights. I can't move. He falls on me. All my nice clean clothes. I start smelling like pee. So every day since then, instead of calling me Sweet, they started calling me Sweet Pea.
Sweet pea. Sweet pea. I like that. Last but not least, the last contestant in the first annual International Liars Contest here at the Fundafest, the first annual Ribs Fibs Liars Contest. The last contestant, none other than my brother. Brother Radical is his name. His age is ancient. For Minister of Culture of the Milwaukee chapter of the Black Panther Party. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big warm welcome to Brother Radical.
I used to do that. I used to wear all black. And see, I started wearing all white. It's a true story. You see, I have a former history of being very radical. And people of the world, particularly in America, are looking at the situation that it just seems that nobody can figure out what to do. Because everybody's divided, so divided. And the lines and the positions are getting farther and farther apart. So they said, rather than try to find people in the middle and get them to talk, you know, we always say, well, let's get together as friends. They said, let's get the most radical of radical, the most distant of distance, the farthest twain together, and we'll have a convention of very radical people. I came representing the black side. I was late, kind of almost late to the plane, you know. When I got there and got my seat was in the middle. I hate middle seats. But I was the last one on the plane. Everybody kind of looked at me, it's like, you know, radicals from all over. And I came and I noticed that my seat was between two white people. And I squeezed in the first white cat and, like, believe it or not, he had a swastika tattooed right there in the middle of his forehead, and his head was clean. I'm like, oh man. And he had like kind of like something tattooed around his neck. And when I tried to walk past him, he tripped me and said, hey. You know, set me by a skinhead. But then I said, but that's okay, because sitting next to him was a man in a nice suit, and he had a Bible with a prayer cloth laying on it. I said, at least they sent me by a minister. So that'll be cool. So I sat there and I bumped his arm and he said, I'm like, what's this? Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, he bumped his Bible and the prayer cloth fell off. So I reached to pick it up and he, don't touch that, boy. And he picked it up and it had 2 holes in it. And it wasn't a prayer cloth, it was a Ku Klux Klan hood. They got sat me between the skinhead and a Klansman. Just gonna be cool. And the skinhead was looking at me like this. and the Klansman was like, cool. Now, see, I don't know about you, but my feet kind of swell when I get on the airplane when the pressure changes. So I always kick off my shoes. So I said, look. And then they start talking. And I said, boy. Well, I know they got sky marshals on this plane out of because I was real radical. And he said, boy, you know, you cursed. And I said, what? Yeah, it says right here in the Bible, you are the cursed seed. Yeah, the sons of Ham, Cain, all of them were cursed. You're cursed, boy. You're inferior. Oh, I said, look, just a minute. And the guy and I said, hey, you know, we're going to rid the world of all of you. And I said, man, I'm just going to try to be cool because, you know, man, I'm like, I said, look, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I said, look, I'm going to get a Coca-Cola. Would y'all like a Coca-Cola? I said, look, I'm going to extend the hand to brother. Would you like a Coca-Cola? And the skinhead said, yeah, plenty of ice. And then the Klansman says, yeah, serve me, boy. And I'm going to say a word that they said, and I know it may not be appropriate for this audience, but I got to
to tell you what happened. So I got up and left and came back, and what I didn't know while I was gone, the skinhead picked up my shoe and spit it. I didn't know this. And then the Klansman saw that he picked up my shoe. He spit it, put it down, so I came back. Here's your Coca-Cola, here's your Coca-Cola. I sat there, you know. And the skinhead said, why is it that ye black guys, and I'm going to say what he said, don't want us to call you niggers? I'm like, be cool, man, just be cool. And then the Klansman said, it's not that they don't want you to call them that, they prefer niggas. Ain't that right, boy? I'm like, put y'all like a little Coca-Cola. And I got up, came back with the Coca-Colas. Now what I didn't know, when I got up again, the skinhead spit in my shoe, and the Klansman spit in my shoe. And look, they kept talking, and so I said, I'm gonna be cool. Sky Marshal's on the plane, I'm gonna be cool. But I kept getting up, every time, you want a Coke? Yeah, bring me some more ice this time. Well, yeah, keep serving me, boy, that you understand. And every time I get up, they would spit in my shoe. And look, finally the plane landed, okay? When the plane landed, for us to go to that convention and everything, I said, cool, cool, whoa, 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 whoa. Picked up my shoes, man. I looked at all of that glue spit in my shoes, and they had just finished drinking their Coca-Colas, and I looked at, and I said, when will it ever end? When will people of this world begin to treat each other as human beings? When will we begin to extend the hand of brotherhood and sisterhood to each other and stop dividing ourselves as human beings? When will the day come when people will stop spitting in each other's shoes and peeing in each other's Coca-Colas?
Take you roll on with a bonus. Brother Radical. You know, I'm from the South, I see that all the time. We got a running joke. What's the last thing a redneck says before he dies? Hey, y'all, watch this. You know, because they about to do something stupid like watch it jump over there. No, Northerners just don't get it. That goes over big in the South. All right, let's have a big hand for all our contestants. First we have Laura Packer, who brought Ruth Hill here. Ruth stopped all the traffic and turned all the cars. We got the traffic moving and turned the cars blue. Then we had Kevin Carr. I messed it up 3 times. You're so fine, I can't even say it. Kevin Carr, driving a car. She had contractions at Home Depot and her brother saw the delivery. Lynn Cabral had that cat with the gutter cleaning business. Jim Roach, she had the goats that thought it was a cow. Mansanko, the international star, just won that Grammy Award. Rob Pike, my new brother, camping in Wales, he was naked in the mud. Valerie Tutson, divorced me and had that joker killed from Peru back then. The flute playing joker from Peru. Lynn Ford with her great aunt Cat, with the turkeys that died and came back to life, they was really drunk. Patty Horton, looking good for her age, she divorced her man. She got on 2 different bedroom shoes. Bill Harley, I don't know what the hell he did. No, I'm just kidding. Bill Harley got stopped by 2 brothers, 6'4", 165. He was peeing in the women's bathroom and taking pictures of the secretary's breast. Joanne Sweetwine, Sweet Pea, how she got her name. And last but not least, Brother Radical, spitting in the shoes and urinating in the Coca-Cola. Judges, you got a big job tonight. You got a big job, but I know you can do it. So while the judges are convening, I'm going to have the band come up and start tuning up because they're going to start playing it at 10 o'clock. So let y'all go ahead and do a sound check. While the band's doing the sound check, they'll be convening. If y'all gotta go to the bathroom, I know you can't hold your water like you used to. Go buy your raffle tickets, buy drinks, any food.
And their books for sale.
Books for sale in the corner, CDs for sale, drinks for sale. Did I miss anything? All right? So we're gonna come up with the winner in just a few minutes. We need first place, second place, third place judges. If you gotta go to the bathroom, do so right now. We'll be back in just a second while the band starts.